Alright guys, so did you like the look of the Baltany Bubble Back Homage but it was a little out of your price range? Well, then this could be the watch for you. So, full disclosure, I was sent this for free, don't have to send it back, but you know the score. So I'm going to change the way I do my reviews, going to keep it 100% honest all the time, no matter what. So the question is, what have they changed with this particular watch? Are you going to want to pick one up? And more importantly, how much is it? Let's jump right in and find out. So here's the packaging you get it in, the usual Baltany one, which is actually good. It's not just a useless box. You can use it to carry around watches or store your watches. So quickly pop the watch to one side, go over the other bits you get in here. So you get Baltany branded cleaning cloth, the warranty code, which is actually dated and stamped, which is good. Adjustment tool, which is always handy to have. So just pop all this to one side. So here is the actual watch. And the first thing that'll probably jump out at you is those hands. So they are actually blued. They're not just painted. They are actually heat treated. So they are properly blued, which is a nice touch. We'll quickly bring in the automatic version. Obviously that had lume instead. So the dials you can see are pretty different. They do actually have a couple of different dial versions on this one. So you can get the vintage cream white, which is the one I've got, but they also do an enamel yellow. And yes, both of these dials are enamel. So again, another nice little touch. When we quickly look around at the rest of the case, it's the same as the automatic. So you've got fully polished case, unsigned crown, really nicely finished, nicely curved as well. A little bit of curvature to those lugs. And we've got that same sloped bezel with the ever so slight dome on that crystal, which is kind of like a top hat style almost. Does look good, does flow nicely between the two. When it comes to the strap, it's a vintage style leather one, a bit of stitching, genuine leather. And we've actually got the Baltany branding on there as well. When it comes to the buckle, it's polished. Again, nothing fancy, but nicely done. So let's quickly go over the dimensions on this. So we've got a diameter of 36mm, a thickness of 13.5, lug width of 18, and the all-important lug to lug is coming in at 44. So really compact dimensions on this, which should be ideal for guys, well, and girls maybe, with smaller wrists. Obviously, if you're a bigger guy, this might not be for you. So let's get a zoom in on that dial and talk about that a bit more. So you've got a fully printed dial, nothing applied. You can see we've got the Roman numerals there. I know some people aren't keen on them. I actually don't mind them. And I think it helps as well that they're not all Roman numerals that's broken up. So it doesn't clutter the dial too much. You can see we've got that slightly sunken second end, and you've probably noticed that it is ticking, so that is because this is actually a quartz movement in this one, unlike the other one which is an automatic. But again, that is reflected in the price, which we'll talk about in a second. So pretty simple dial, but nicely done, and nice proportions on those hands as well. So you're probably wondering, what is the movement in this? So it's the Seiko VD78, and as I said, that's a quartz movement. So between that and the lack of lume on this, they're the only real differences between this and the automatic that I reviewed a while back. If you haven't seen the review for that, I'll leave a link to it up here if you want to check it out. But otherwise, the cases are pretty much identical. Obviously the dials are totally different, but everything else is pretty much the same. Straps are ever so slightly different, same kind of style though. But as I say, the main difference is going to be that movement and then obviously the price. So when it comes to price, for the automatic version, that's coming in at, well, at the moment anyway, you know what AliExpress prices are like. that's coming in at about £152, whereas this Quartz version is coming in at just over £100, so it's £102. So a pretty sizable price difference. If you like the look and you're not that bothered about having an automatic movement, perhaps this is the one for you, as I said in the intro. Obviously, completely different dial designs, so that could be an issue for some people if you prefer the design of the other one. But I do like this vintage kind of look with this one. Something a little bit different. But let me know, what do you think? So let's check out now whether we've got sapphire crystal, because obviously that's another important factor, because the previous one, the automatic, has that. So let's test it using the trusty Diamond Selector 2. And yep, we have got sapphire crystal. So they haven't skimped there, which is good to see. So as I said earlier, the only differences between the two are obviously the movement and the different dials, and with this one they're like a loom. But you are getting blued hands, which I think is a nice little alternative, and again changes it up slightly so they're not exactly the same watch. But all it's left to do now is show you what it's like on wrist, and then we'll wrap this up. So this is what it looks like on my 7-inch wrist, and as I say, wears really well with that compact lug to lug, and I do really like this. I do like the way the light catches those blued hands, and obviously the polished case does look good too. Nice bit of distortion from that crystal, and it's just a different look if you wanted something a little bit different than the other one, because they are totally different in terms of dials. So I'm probably going to keep both in my collection because they offer something a little bit different. But let me know, do you think this is a good budget alternative to the other one? If you can't quite afford that, are you tempted by this one? But that's it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.